You're listening to Selling the Dream. This isn't an interview, and we're not journalists, but each week we'll ask our guests to open up and share their secrets to business success. Let's have a conversation and have some fun.
But one of the things, Skye, if your internet gets glitchy or something like that, this program is actually recording on all three of our local drives. Great. So once we hit the end button, it'll upload all three of our files, and then it will be seamless. So don't get, if you see any glitching, don't sweat it. We don't have to start over. Sometimes Joe will disappear for a minute, and you'll see us just bob and weave until
you have to stay perfectly still.
So, and then the other thing is when I end the recording, stick around for a minute because it has to upload. So, so we'll stay, and then once I see that all three are uploaded, then we'll go. Joe, you're really glitched out already.
Did it glitch really?
For a second,
dude.
You're good.
This is the worst software ever, by the way.
The end product's the best one out of all of them.
All right, I'll take your word.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Selling the Dream podcast. We have another awesome episode for you today. As you know, we talk about sales. We talk about entrepreneurship. We have a good time. And we just have a discussion about all things success related. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Joe Iredell, coming to us from California. So both sides of the country here. Joe, what's up, man?
Brother? Manifest destiny. What's up, KJ?
From Delaware County to Carlsbad, right?
That's right. Ready for another banger today.
So we were talking offline. Tell me where you're at. You got some pretty cool stuff happening with your diet. Is it Dianetics?
Diametics. Yes.
Yeah. What's going on?
Well, we've got our corporate location launching down in a little bit outside of Boca Raton, Florida. But
is that French?
I believe it is. But yeah, so the idea here, we're going to be nationwide shortly, but if you have a foot problem, you go to a podiatrist. If you have a heart problem, you go to a cardiologist. And if you have a diabetic issue, you go to a Diametic. And that's what we got going on. And we have some really cool things that we're going to help a lot of people that suffer from everything from diabetic ulcers on their feet to just, type 1, type 2 diabetes and so forth. So we're doing a lot of great stuff. I'm really excited.
I know you are on the entrepreneur side of this endeavor and not in the science behind it, but I did hear some pretty interesting things about some of the things, you're reading about diabetes that, the tie to Alzheimer's and dementia. The ties are pretty tight. It's insulin resistance in the brain that kind of creates, and causes dementia and Alzheimer's. Pretty nuts, man.
It's, what? And I try to tread really lightly when it comes to the medical side of what we do. I'm on 100% on the business side of it. But
disclaimer, Joe's not a doctor.
I am not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. But when it comes down to it, not to get too in the weeds politically or whatever, but I feel like people are starting to become hip to the fact that we've been led astray a little bit by some of the bigger, pharmaceutical companies and how they've decided to treat some of these ailments that are, definitely there's a better course of action if you look at it from a different lens. And on the other side of it, we have a horrible culture of fast food and poor diet that just kind of feeds into that. So, when you scale it all back and you look at really what the root cause of a lot of these ailments that people have, it's almost like a no-brainer. Like, wow, well, this is how you can fix it, and this is how you can lead a healthier life. So, I got some really, really, really smart people that I'm working
exciting,
with.
Man.
Yeah, it's cool.
Good. I hope you're going to be helping a lot of people.
That's our goal.
Very, very cool. Speaking of diet, I just came off a 60-hour fast.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing but coffee and water for 60 hours.
That's pretty good. Yeah. That's good. How do you feel, buddy?
Amazing. I did have my first meal today at lunch, but really, if you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. It is, not only, I mean, there's all kinds of health benefits, not the least of which, weight loss and metabolic resets and, insulin sensitivity, but also like stem cell release in your body, and it helps you heal, and it helps, pains disappear. It's an experience, man. This is the third time I've done it. This is the longest I've done. I'm going to try maybe go a little longer next time. But have you done it before? Have you ever fasted?
Not on purpose. I mean, I can't say that I haven't gone. There's definitely been times where I haven't, but yeah, I don't know. Not in recent memory, but
Yeah,
I did start taking protein. I started like matching because I work out every day and I train and jujitsu and fight and all that stuff. And I was always just kind of sore and run down. And my wife, who's a fitness fanatic, was like, "You don't have enough protein," and I was always like, "Protein shakes are for meatheads at the gym." She's
yeah.
like, "Just try them." So I started taking protein. I feel way better. But
Oh, that's cool.
I'm interested in the fast because I've heard a lot of great things about fasting. So
Again, I'm no doctor, right? Same disclaimer, but it's cool. I think you get through the first day, get through dinner time on day one, and it's really not that difficult, you
did the
know.
guys from Krispy Kreme come looking for you though, or what? Were they, "Hey, where's our guy?"
Phone was ringing off the hook. Dude, we have a great show today. We have a guest I'm extremely excited to have on the show, and someone even dating back to when we first started to have this idea of putting together a podcast. This was a person that I immediately thought of and kind of manifested. Like this is one day we're gonna have Skye on the show, and he and I connected about 2 weeks ago. We had an awesome conversation over the phone. And of course, he agreed to come on. So thank you very much, Skye Michiels, the head of sales at Compass Real Estate. I joked that you're probably the second most recognizable person at Compass next to Robert, or his wife. His wife's pretty dynamic. But thanks for joining us, Skye. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be on. And ironically, I just completed the last 3 days of January, I did a 72-hour
Nice.
water cleanse, coffee, water. I didn't actually drink that much coffee because I don't like it black, but I just basically stuck to water. And I think the bigger thing is your mindset, right? Like just the fact that you get through that, your mind changes around what you feel like you need to eat versus what you actually do eat. So I think that's the biggest thing, Ken. I think you do a 72-hour, like give it another month or so, and then do a 72-hour.
I'll give it a shot for sure. Honestly, I probably would have gone a little longer today, but I did have a lunch appointment already scheduled. And Joe and I were joking earlier. He said, "Don't eat when you get there. It'll be a power move. They'll be
What you do?
uncomfortable." But I did eat, and it was delicious. The best tomato soup I've ever had. So when you did your fast, what was your goal for the 72-hour fast?
So I'm on. I'm not on I'm actually on a health journey, I'll call it. So my goal right now, I'm going to be 47 in a month. My goal is basically to feel like I'm 27 again. I was a college athlete. I've always been an athlete, and in my mind, I mean, I still am an athlete. But over the years, through different situations of, let's say, getting divorced or starting businesses, running real estate, whatever it might be, you sort of get away from that mindset of being an athlete and really taking care of your body at the optimal level. Because you don't, when you're an athlete, you have to show up, you have to perform. So everything you're doing, whether it's diet, health, training, sleep, etc., you're really getting into this mindset of, okay, I have to perform this weekend. Like I got to make sure I'm ready to go. And so towards the end of 2023, I started to get into some good shape, but then I'm like, I want to get back into the shape that I was as a college athlete. And I'm never going to get back to there where, you all you did was work out and compete. But I want to get back to that mindset of being a college athlete. where even though I may not be performing this weekend, like I'm going to train like I have an upcoming competition. And when I trained as an athlete, you watched, I was calculating what am I eating? Am I getting enough protein? How many grams of protein do I need? How much sleep do I need? And in many ways, I'm having so much fun right now, just getting back into that athlete mindset. So I did the 72 hour because I had a goal of basically sort of lowering my body fat percentage down and my weight down. I was at the beginning of the year, I was 227. By the end of the year, I want to be 205. But I don't want to be a thin 205. I want to be an
Sure.
athletic 205, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not really that focused on like weight loss per se because of the fact I'm lifting heavy right now. I'm training. I basically train every day. I believe the body should move. It doesn't necessarily mean like I think a lot of times people say, "Oh, I'm going to work out 3 times a week or 4 times a week," and that messes with your mind a little bit. Rather than saying I'm going to work out every day, and there are days I don't, but if I make my goal every day, and then I get 6 days in, it's like, oh great, like that was a good week. So that's the mindset I have right now. That every single day my body should be moving in an athletic way. Maybe it's
Yes.
yoga, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm lifting weights every day or sprinting or running or whatever it might be, but I want this body should be in motion in some way every single day.
It's
That's awesome.
amazing how you perform mentally in whatever your job is when physically you feel good. I mean, I remember, Joe, I don't know if you know this, but the first half marathon that I ran, the Philly, I guess it was the Love Run. It was
Mhm.
the Love Run.
Yeah.
It was half marathon.
Uh,
It was during that time frame where we were in the 5 a.m.ers where I met Skye and
Yeah.
a bunch of other phenomenal people. And Skye was one of the people that kind of like I signed up completely ignorant of what it was going to take to run it. And he's like, "Nah, man, you can do it. You can do it." And then after the marathon, I asked, this guy was telling me about full marathons. I'm like, "You think I could?" He's like, "Dude, if you just ran a half, you can definitely run a full." And there were two people in my head when I was running the full marathon. One was Skye saying, "If you ran a half, you can definitely run a full," and the other was Mark Gordon, who said, "You're way too heavy to run a marathon." They were both in my head the whole time I was running. So I don't know if you do that, Skye, but
That's great.
yeah, when you're physically in a better place, you are mentally in a better place. It's just
100%.
yeah,
Hundred
it's
percent.
so important.
So true. And
I started that journey 2.5 years ago, and it started with waking up at 4:30 in the morning and working out. And to your point, Skye, I don't take a day off. And the day that and that doesn't mean like I try to go to the gym and lift every day. I do jujitsu every day. There's are like, but it on the days that I can't, it's become the norm that I do it, that I feel uncomfortable that I haven't done it. And
Yeah.
it's the reverse of how most people live, where it's like their big day is like rest and then go to the gym. And so
Yeah.
when you get into that habit, it's your body transforms. And the whole Ken and I have talked about this in a lot, but not drinking, I quit drinking, and your brain, just your body, everything just gets so in tune, and it's awesome. I mean, if I'm such an advocate for that, for people to do that at our age, especially.
Huge. And I think the one thing I'll stress too is like for me and for you guys, it sounds like we start connecting with ourselves I started connecting with myself through my physical state. If anyone is listening to this, you don't need to connect with, it could be a different thing that you use to start to connect with yourself. And I always think in terms of mind, body, spirit, right? So someone listening to this, maybe for you, athletics is not a huge part of your life, but spirit is a big part of your life, right? So the key thing I think for anyone that wants to start this process of improving is to identify the one thing that is like the core of who you are. So once again, maybe for you, it's like anyone listening, it's like going to church and being spiritual is the core of who you are. And then, the working out and the reading is something different. Or maybe you connect by reading a book, right? And you early on in life, like you read books, and that for you brings back this ancient memory. So I think I want to challenge everyone that's listening Just because I'm saying I connect physically with like being an athlete, that doesn't mean that that's what you need to do. What you do need to do is you need to identify which side of what I call the triangle, right, of life, mind, body, spirit, is the core of who you are. And you always want to, when you start a self-improvement journey, start with your core and then build from there. Right. So for me, I always start if I'm physically fit, because my ancient piece of me is an athlete, right? Growing up, that's what that's my identity, right? Maybe your ancient piece of you though is a spiritual person, a spiritual leader. So connect with yourself spiritually, start, and then you could add the other two pieces of what I call, the triangle of life, right? Mind, body, spirit. So for me, it's like every day, my goal is to make sure I'm working on my mind, my body, my spirit. And that's, if I do those three things each day, then the rest of this stuff we do professionally, building companies, training agents, doing mortgages, whatever it might be that you're doing, the rest of it is just sort of play. This is the work that really matters if you're out there trying to really become a better person, better professional, better husband, better whatever you want to fill in the blank. It always starts with those three things, but identify the ancient thing first and start there. So,
Yeah, I think I love that, because I feel like for me, it was kind of, I had an epiphany of, number one, I wanted to be, for my kids, I wanted to be a much better lead by example. But then I scaled it back, and I was an athlete in college as well. I'm like, what got me here? What gave me joy before I found the joy of, or the distractions of work and drinking and stuff like that? Like, what was it? And that's what it was. So I think that's an awesome point of, what, if you read books, if you went to church, if you, all this stuff, if you get back to the, strip everything away, and what is it that is that your core that makes you happy, focus on that and be disciplined about it and make it a routine, and everything else seems to fall into place, because that's what built you to where you get to that point.
So,
And,
Skye, let me
I love that
interrupt
you
Joe
shared
here
that.
for a second, and I want to pivot. So we had talked earlier, and you had used a phrase, and I want you to kind of expand on this phrase, and I guess tell us how it resonates in your current role. And
sure.
It's the humanization of real estate agents. Why do real estate agents need to be humanized?
This is probably my my current passion in professionally of what I'm doing. When you think about real estate sales, I actually think about a lot of what you do too, Ken, right?
Sure.
Mortgage sales. When you think about real estate sales, the core aspect of what realtors do has not changed for decades or really even centuries. At the end of the day, a realtor's job is to take care of people, right? That's at the core of what a great realtor, any great realtor you see, almost inevitably, 99% of them, the core of what they are is someone who takes care of people, right? And over the years, I think in real estate, and I'll go back to, we'll start with like the third party lead aggregators. I'm not going to name any names that may begin with a Z, but third party lead aggregators got us into this world where we would sit behind a computer, an email would come in, we would respond to the email, and then we would start working with someone like that, right? And then we had COVID hit. And when COVID hit, all of a sudden, every realtor adapted to this virtual world where we disconnected from people. And similar to what we're talking about with the core, our health journey, right? We disconnected with what the core root of what real estate is, which real estate is helping people. And in many ways, my theory is that we as human beings are never going to beat computers in certain things, right? We're never going to beat a computer in the speed of response or in aggregating online data or in doing certain things. But what a computer can't do, a computer can't take care of people. And the second thing, a computer can't make someone feel like they matter. So if you are a real estate agent out there or a loan originator, right? The two things you can do in 2024 to increase your business is to care about people and make people feel like they matter. And this is the rehumanization of the real estate business. And the reason why this is so critical and so important is because if we try to compete with computers, we're going to lose. So rather than take technology and try to compete with it, we need to take technology and actually allow technology to make us more human. And then the time that we gain through using technology needs to be reinvested in our human relationships and connections. And those connections, they can't be a sales connection. They can't be a phone call saying, "Hey, are you thinking of selling your home this year?" That's not humanization. The phone call has to be like, "Oh my God, I saw your name and it made me smile. I realized I haven't talked to you in a year. I just want to call and that was so great. I was going through my records today." That's the human thing, a human smile. You made me smile. What does that say to the other person? Like, you actually matter to me, and you're not doing it in a sales way. You're not calling them saying, "Hey, are you doing anything involving real estate?" No, you're calling them to check in on them. You never know what's going to happen from that conversation, in the sense, "Oh my God, yeah, like I'm struggling right now." Or, you know what, I'm like on a health journey. Hey, let's do a half marathon together. You'll get a client for life, right? Through that. And that's, I think, one of these things that every agent that's listening to this, or every loan originator, really every entrepreneur, we need to go back into this world where we can always win when we're being human beings. And this is a line I use, which I got from Robert Refkin. It's the first time in history where caring is a competitive advantage. Imagine the craziness that whoever cares more about people
Love that.
is actually has a competitive advantage over the people in the marketplace. That's a crazy thing to think about for a second. That all I need to do to actually beat my competitors is care more about the human being on the other end of the line. And in many ways, this is like, we need to get from out behind our screens. We need to get out from behind our emails. We need to get back to the basics of what real estate is, which is community. It's people. It's helping people. It's making people feel like they matter. And if you have a database of 30,000 people, I challenge you to throw that away and create a database of 200 people that matter to you. And then you make them feel like they matter. My theory is you'll do way more business than the database of 30,000 people that you're drip campaigning to, if that makes sense. So I'm
There's
passionate
so
right
much
now.
there.
Right?
I gotta. So you literally going back to the first part of our conversation, where you're saying people will forget, people will remember how you make them feel, right? They'll forget a lot of details about a transaction, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. Emotionally, how we feel has that instinctively stronger memory, and that's why you go, when you're trying to start that health journey, you go back to what made you feel great, what made you feel like you were operating at your, and for some of it's health, for some sports, for some of it's praying, for some of it's reading, or intellectual exercise. I mean, that's a great correlation, because that just proves, those are both pretty good proofs that how you feel and the memory from how you feel lasts a very long time.
Yeah. Ken, just think of our relationship. 5-6 years ago, I challenged you to run a half marathon. But I didn't just challenge you. I actually supported you. I gave you positive affirmation. You will always remember me. Like, you have that memory in your memory bank for the rest of your life. Right. And if we take that mindset into our business, that, I'm going to create a memory that this person will remember the rest of their life. That is the goal you want in your business. Right. And I think in many ways, a lot of us focus on customer service, and that is what we need to throw that out the window. Customer service is the standard. Customer service is the 800 number that you call to get, something done, right? People hate customer service. What do people love? They love client experience. And what your goal should be is to look at everything you do as a professional and say, how can I make an experience that people will remember the rest of their life, and then make sure that's in some level of a systematic way, so you're not each time recreating the wheel from scratch, which, by the way, ruins customer experience. You want people to feel like they're in a unique custom experience with it being a system. So once again, Ken, for you, like you should go through, okay, when someone's getting a loan from me, what do they experience? And how can I up level that experience? Right? Can I send them, a bottle of wine, not at closing, when they lock in a rate? Or
Yeah.
I know you get the point, right? It's like you go through, and then even for you, Joe, like when someone walks in a Diametics, I think I said it right. What
Diametics,
is
that's
the
right.
Diametics?
Yes, sir.
What is the experience? Because right now in our world, most people are used to feeling like a number, right?
Yeah.
They're used to feeling like they're in a drip campaign or a system, or right. You click on Instagram, I click on a link. Next thing I know, I'm getting emails from this company. That all I did was literally click on a link to look at a T-shirt. And the next thing I know, I'm being inundated with emails. Right? How can we actually get out of this mode and out of this world of dripping people, or really selling to them automatically? And we go back into, like I said, rehumanization. And part of that rehumanization is creating experiences that people will remember the rest of their lives. And that for each of us on this call and everyone listening, it will be something different for all of us. But what is common for all of us is to really take a step back and look at what we do and ask ourselves the question, am I creating an experience versus just providing a service? If you provide a service, you will not be remembered. Unless it's a horrible, the only way they're going to remember
if
it
it's
is if it's
terrible.
a bad
Right.
service,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And that's the only way they remember it. But people don't remember good customer service. Why? Because it's just basic.
Yeah.
But they do remember experiences, and I think that's this driving force. Because let's be real, the real estate world is changing. Think about the number of agents that are going to leave this industry because of the fact that there just isn't the transactions to support these agents, right? We're if you look at some of these numbers, we're half of the inventory we were in 2019
Yeah.
in some of our markets. Like there just isn't the sheer volume of transactions to support everyone. So the people that are going to win are going to be the ones that care the most and create the most memorable experiences. And that I think is what's so critical about this world we're walking into, which is actually exciting in many ways. Because all I need to do is actually not focus on more people, focus on less people, and go deeper.
Sounds like Jerry Maguire.
Yeah. Oh, it's true. I mean,
fish with me.
it's one of those. There's definitely two schools. Then to play a little bit of a devil's advocate here, it's a better way to go. Quality over quantity wins all the time, but you definitely there are people who are successful. Calling every phone in America, telling them they need to get their car warranty done. So it really just comes down to which way do you want to skin the cat, and I would say that if you want a lot of poor quality clientele, then go scale. Hit everybody up with your drip campaigns and emails and follow up, and you will grind it out and you'll get the number you want because that's all mathematical. But if you want to have a long-term sleep at night, successful business where you're proud of it, then a much narrower, deeper funnel is
Yeah.
proven. So
Well, and Joe, I think we could even apply to anyone that does do drip campaigns. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you do drip campaigns, I'm not telling you not to do drip campaigns. What I'm telling you to do is look at your drip campaign. And in your drip campaign, what experience am I even providing there? Right. So, and Joe, to your point, like drip campaigns in CRMs, very, very effective tool to generate leads from people you don't know. And
yeah,
by the way, I am not opposed to that. What I want to challenge people who do that technique is, when was the last time you looked at your emails in your drip campaign, and
right.
how does that email make someone feel?
And does it sound like you wrote it? Like,
Yeah.
does it sound like it came from you? Like, if everyone in the company has the same drip campaign, that you think that automation, that systemization is going to help you, but in reality, it's only putting you in a less organic space in their mind. And And the other thing, if you're listening, and I know mortgage people and real estate people and entrepreneurs all use drip campaigns in some fashion, make sure you have a way to pivot away from the campaign when it makes sense. I think that where a lot of people go wrong is like, you pre-approve someone in my business. You pre-approve someone, and then you send them an email. Hey, just want to let you know I'm here if you have any questions. Great. And then another couple weeks goes by. Hey, how's the house hunt going? Oh, let's go. But then they reply back, hey, I decided not to buy right now because X, Y, Z. And then 3 weeks later, they get another email. Hey, how's the house hunt going? They're like, didn't I just reply back to, like, you have to be able, like, you still got to be in tuned with the communication, and it just can't be. I don't think there exists to set it and forget it in a people business. And it's a perfect point, or perfect example, Skye, because you got to look at it, you got to read it, you got to know what people are seeing. Yeah. Sometimes that stuff changes, you know?
Well, and Ken, I think this goes back into another thing I coach to, which is CRM. And, when I coach to, so a CRM, for anyone that's listening, right, the R in CRM is relationship. And what most agents have is a CSM, or a spam management tool, right? All they do is they use it for email. So what I really coach to is actually a lot of agents use maybe a Sphere ABC system. And what they typically will do is they'll say, well, every one of my past clients is a Sphere A. And then anyone that I want to do business is a Sphere A. And then Sphere B is people I think I can do business with. And then Sphere C is people I hope I do business with, right? Now, the challenge you run into there is that when you put people into your A's that you don't really like, all of a sudden now your CRM relationship tool becomes something you dread looking at. You dread going into it. So you want to fall back on automation because of the fact that you look at your CRM as this thing where you're like, oh, I do not want to talk to those people. So the way I coached to agents to do their CRM, you create Sphere A, Sphere B, and Sphere C. But instead, Sphere A is people I love. Sphere B is people I like. Sphere C is people I don't know and don't care. And from there, what happens is your CRM becomes this tool that you are excited about going into, because most of your time is going to be spent dealing with people that you love and you like. And then all of your marketing, drip campaign the hell out of the C's. Your A's almost never receive a real estate communication from you. You know why? Because they know you're in real estate.
They're already going to refer you.
Already going to refer you. So now you don't have to worry about being salesy or annoying someone or bothering someone. All right. And we all know those realtors that, call and you're just like, why are you even saying this? Like, this is so bad. And now we get into a world where you actually can take your A's and you can elevate the experience you provide them because of the fact you're inviting them to a charity event, or hey, let's go see the Flyers game this weekend, or hey, I'm going for a run. You want to go for a run? And you almost never talk about real estate to your A's. Your B's, maybe you have a little bit more real estate. Maybe it's like 20% real estate, and the vast majority of it is all about the community and life and all this other stuff. And then your C's, it's all real estate because you don't know them. You don't care about them. And really, the reality is most people are probably only going to have 30 to 40 A's, but most of their business will come from the A's, right? And you could use the same mindset, Ken, in the loan origination world, where you take all of your realtors and like, all right, I'm going to have it ABC with my realtors that I work. You know why? Because I don't want to bring this asshole to lunch. Right? We all know who, agents that you probably look at agents, Ken, you're like, oh my God.
But no, I love every single one of them, Skye. On my heart, for anybody listening.
That's not what you were just talking about. Who was that guy you were just saying that about?
It's in California, right, Joe?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Not in Jersey.
So I want to shift gears a little bit, if you guys don't mind, and we're gonna piggyback on everything we've been talking about so far. But I one of the things that Joe and I have been talking about, and Skye, it was the foundation of us first meeting. Was the 5 a.m.ers. And for the people that are listening, the 5 a.m.ers was a group of primarily, housing industry related professionals that decided to start getting up early with the idea that the discipline it takes to get up early carries into your day, the productivity that you get, the productivity boost you get when you're able to function where everyone else is still asleep and you can get stuff done. And the camaraderie and knowledge from the books we read. It was an amazing, life-changing experience for me. Not to oversell it, but it really, really was. And I think that it's the morning routine that matters. And talk about that for a minute, Skye. How has that 5 a.m.ers evolved for you, and what do you do to bring the right morning routine to help you be productive, and why is it so important?
Yeah. So, the origination of the five AMers was came back to when I was getting divorced, and I was in I had a very luckily, I actually have a beautiful divorce. I have a beautiful relationship with my ex-wife. We have an awesome co-parenting situation. We do holidays, etc. But going through it, even at the time, it was very, very challenging, emotionally, physically, you name it. It was really, really difficult. And so one of my best friends, Jake Dreyfus, knew I was going through a shitty time. And so we followed a guy named Jocko Willenick, who would post a picture of his watch at 4:30 every morning.
Yeah, Jocko's out here. I see Jocko.
Do you
Yeah.
really? That's
Yes.
incredible.
He's got a daughter. Yeah, his daughter wrestles for Point Loma, and my son wrestles at Carlsbad. Yeah, and he owns a jiu-jitsu gym down the street. So,
that's insane, man. I've been to some of his trainings and stuff like that. So, Jake just started to text me in the morning to wake up early, right? And so I would start to get up, and then we were like, wow, this is actually pretty good. We're like, what if more people want to do this? So we sent an email out to people we knew, and 10 people were like, hey, we want to do it too. So we did it for a month, and that started progressing. And then we did it for another month, and we did it for another month. And each month it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And to make a long story short, eventually we were sort of doing these calls, and there were people joining from all across the country. To make Jake, over time, he moved to Colorado. I shifted to Compass. We sort of stopped making the calls at 5 a.m. and, life went on. And COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I was at the time the managing director for Compass in Philadelphia. And I was, maybe March 12th or 13th, whatever it was, we go home. And we start doing, you're eating and you're drinking and you're watching Netflix and you're waking up late. You're going to bed late. Just life was out of control. And I really was in a point where I was like so frustrated by the end of March. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to relaunch the 6 a.m.ers inside of Compass. And I did. I think it was great in hindsight. I actually was really excited about doing it at 6 a.m. versus 5 a.m. because 5 a.m. is early.
It's rough.
And 5 a.m. is early. 6 a.m. is very, very manageable. Like you can get to bed at 11:30 and you're a little tired, but you're not like destroyed.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so I started it in my office in Philadelphia. We had about 50 people sign up for it. And then the next month, a sales manager from Boston heard about it. He's like, I want to join it. So it went to Boston. And then to make a long story short, now almost 4 years later, we've been all across the country. And the same principles we use in the 5 a.m.ers, we use in the 6 a.m.ers, right? We have 2 Zoom calls a week. Right now, we actually have 4 because it's 1 at 6 a.m. East Coast, 1 at 6 a.m. West Coast. We read a book each month. You create a morning routine. You set a 1-word intention for the month. And then on Monday, Wednesday, Friday within Workplace, which is like a private Facebook group, I'll post a question of the day and a motivational video. And we've had 6,000 Compass agents sign up for it over the last 4 years.
Wow.
Huge community of people. And like I said, Ken, it's the same mindset that we had back then, we have today. And I joke around, we'll get in any given Tuesday or Thursday, we're probably getting anywhere from like 700 to 1,000 people joining both calls.
Amazing.
It's insane. And I say all the time, I would do this if one person showed up. You know why? I don't actually do it for other people. Yeah. I do it for myself. Yeah. And for me, what the 6 a.m.ers or that morning mindset and mentality has done, it's created a level of consistency that I don't think anything else would have created around waking up early. And I'm at a point in my life where I'm very disciplined and I'm very structured in my mornings. And there's nothing I like more than getting up at 4:30, being in the gym. I have a routine I follow. And the reality is I'll fall off that routine, right? That's reality. Like I will fail. I am not perfect in following that routine, but as you progress and as you start to do it more and more, and this is the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. Successful people fail and fall off the rails, but it's a quick bounce back into being back on the path. Unsuccessful people, when they fail, they don't just sort of fall off the track, they fall off the cliff. And that's, I think, the difference. And with the 6 a.m.ers, it's provided personal accountability that I have to get up no matter what, right? I need to be consistent. I need to goal set. And every month, the other really nice thing, I am a huge fan at this point. I don't even really set yearly goals anymore. I set monthly goals. And each month, I set, all right, what am I going to accomplish this month? So let's be real. Like the calendar is just a man-made thing. Right? Our bodies don't know that it's February 1st or January 31st or whatever date, that it may be. And a 12-month year is just a man-made thing. So in many ways, if you want to accomplish something, yes, it's okay to set a yearly goal, but it's really, really critical. You take that yearly goal and you say, all right, what is the next 4 weeks going to look like? And you hyper focus on only 4 weeks. And that's sort of what I love about the 6 a.m.ers. You have to renew, as you remember from 5 a.m.ers, each month you have to renew, and you can take months off if you want, there's no pressure, but each month you have to say, yes, I'm going to participate this month. And it allows you to sort of say, this month, I'm actually going to get after it. Or this month I'm on vacation. I'm going to chill this month. And you get to ebb and flow with your life depending upon what's happening. And I always say we have only one rule in the group, and that is to have fun. So it's really critical that people understand it's not a bro culture, or it's not a like grind and, oh my God, you missed the call, you're out kind of
That's
thing.
what I do in my group.
Right? It's like,
you're out.
There are groups that you
start calling people at 5:05. Where are you?
Where are you? And once again, there is a purpose for a group like that, right? So that there's nothing wrong with that. But for this group, the whole goal is basically to start your morning in a positive way. And if you're starting your morning with shame and guilt and regret and all this stuff, it defeats the whole purpose and goal of the group. So instead, you start your morning no matter what with positivity. And even if it means you slept in that morning, if you have shame, regret, guilt, etc., that's the opposite of what the goal of the group is. Instead, you sleep in the morning and you're like, hey, you know what? I slept in. I'm going to give myself grace. You know what? I'm going to have fun today. Or I had fun last night, and I missed the call. All good.
I started the 555 group inside of Princeton Mortgage. I couldn't use 6 a.m.ers because Skye already copyrighted it, but I think I might have to rewrite the bylaws, Scott, because I'm a little rough. You can't miss. You got to be there. Commitment. But you're right. You're absolutely right. It's about joy and it's about what's possible and not shame and guilt. Oh man, beat yourself up because you didn't get up that day.
Yeah. And Ken, don't get me wrong. I am part of other groups that are hardcore, right? That you better check in. Right. So there's a world where you need both. Right. So it just depends on what your goals are with the group. Right. So if your goal with the group is accountability, then you sort of need a little more structure and a little more accountability. The goal of this group is really positivity and fun. Right. So how can you actually look forward to waking up? And that's I wake up in the morning excited. I can't wait for my alarm to go off.
Awesome. I love it. All right. So it's crazy. This was the fastest one we've done yet. This was awesome. So much information. I hope you're willing to come back and talk about all this stuff. This is the kind of stuff we love. So 2 things we're going to do now to have a little fun. One is 2 truths and a lie. And this is the second time I forgot to do it at the beginning of the podcast. I get so fired up that I just forget. So Joe is going to guess which one is the lie. So why don't you go ahead and give us 2 truths and a lie, and the human lie detector, Joe Iredell, is going to sniff it out.
You see, and let me just hold on. Let me say this: when we do it at the end, it puts me at a grave disadvantage because I can't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
excuses.
I'm going to work with what I got here, but I'm just letting you know that
All right.
it's
Duly noted, Joe. Duly noted. Go ahead.
Let's go. All right.
All right. 2 truths and a lie. Let's see. I played college lacrosse. I have 4 nipples. I went to Syracuse University.
All right. I have an advantage. I know Skye's background, so I think I know the answer. But Joe, it's all you, brother.
Wow. So if you played lacrosse at Syracuse University, you're probably a very good lacrosse player. I'm going to guess that you did. I hope to God that you don't have to prove this to us. But I'm going to say you do not have 4 nipples.
I was on the crew team at Syracuse. So I rowed at Syracuse. I did not play lacrosse. And I actually do have 4 nipples. I won't prove it to you guys on camera. But I have 2. My main nipple is right there. And then I got these 2 little like recessed nipples that are right there.
That's
it's like an elbow. It's like this.
That's
weird
a selling the dream
thing.
first, man. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So got you, Joe.
Wow.
4-1 for Skye.
That.
I thought
You know what? I'll take the L. Listen, I'll take the L on that one, bro.
The Syracuse lacrosse. I was like athlete. I'm like trying to think what's gonna throw him off, and that's why I was like.
And you actually, when you said, that you played, what was the third one?
Syracuse. I played lacrosse, 4 nipples, and then went.
Played lacrosse. You looked up and to the right when you said Syracuse, which is interesting because that's usually what people do when they're lying, and that was your truth. So that's interesting.
He looked down his shirt when he said 4 nipples, though. That's what threw me off. He was counting.
All right, rapid fire. You ready? So you grew up in upstate New York, but you lived in Philadelphia. You've been in Philadelphia long enough now. Cheesesteaks or hoagies? All right, good. East Coast or West Coast? East Coast. All right.
East.
Apple or Android?
Dude, is that even a question?
People want to know.
Like, why do people even own an Android? Like, why? It's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
100%. And last,
burn phones.
Burn phones. All right. Last but not least, Simon Sinek or Jocko Willink? Jocko.
I love them both. I love them both, but he's like my guy. Like he got me through lots of. I still to this day will listen to little podcasts, and it's just there's something about him that is like I just have learned so much about leadership. I've learned so much about life from him. Once again, love Simon Sinek too, but if I had to make a choice, awesome. Jocko every day. I have discipline equals freedom on my.
There it is. All right. Well, I will say this was awesome. Thank you very, very much. And like I said, hopefully we can have you on again.
Anytime, man. It was great. It was really nice meeting you, Joe. And Ken, it was great. Question to you, Ken. What race are you going to commit to running right now?
All right. So I am already signed up for Broad Street. However, I did hurt my back right around Christmas time. So I'm signed up for it. I'm going to be uncharacteristically careful of my back. Normally, I'm just like balls to the wall. Let's go. Fuck it. I'll hurt my back. But it was so painful. I don't ever want to feel that pain again. Yeah. So
don't fuck with your back.
We'll see. But my brother wants to run the Sea Isle 10 miler in August. So if it comes down to it, then that'll be the next one. So
awesome, man. Well, whenever it is, let me know. I'll be running Broad Street too. I'm actually doing the Love Run this
That's
year
awesome,
as well,
man.
so.
I ran the Love Run last year, and it was cool as shit because my brother ran it with me, and he's never done a real race before. He should have beaten me on all rights. He should have beaten me, but somehow or another, at the turn, I realized I was ahead of him. So, of course, that that fired me up. Like, I got to beat him now. And I got to put his medal on as he crossed the finish line. It was an awesome, awesome moment. Shout out to Phil.
Wow. That's right.
All right, I'm going to end this here.